Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? Jimbo here. This video is going to be a quick overview on which abilities are good for PvP and which ones are bad for PvP and what they can be good for. This video is not going to be an explanation on what each ability specifically does. You guys should already know what they do, and if you don't know what they do, log on to the beta right now, look at the abilities, read them, read all of them, read what they do, practice with them, and get used to them. So I'm going to be starting off with the melee abilities, and I'm going to be explaining why each ability is good for PvP, and yeah, I'm going to be going over them. And what this video is about isn't really like to show you guys how to build your bar. I'm just guiding you. I'm going to be showing you what I think is are good abilities to use for PvP, and based on that, you guys can use that knowledge to build your own ability bars for each specific style, and you guys can make your own custom bars instead of copying me exactly or just mimicking me. You guys should think openly about your bars, and yeah, because what happens if you guys all start copying me or something, then it's gonna be just create the same thing for everyone, and it's not gonna open up new strategies for other people. So what I mean by that is that some people can think creatively, and then they can think of stuff that I can't think of, and then they'll come up with a new set of strategy based on the knowledge that I teach you guys, and then you guys can like use that to your advantage in the wilderness instead of just randomly, blindly just copying someone. So yeah, you guys can just use use what I'm teaching you as a guide, but not as a absolute. So yeah, so let's get it started. So Slice is a really good ability for just about everything for PVM and PvP. This is just a bar that you use to build up your an ability to build up your adrenaline. It really isn't good for anything else. It is decent damage, and it's a really good ability just for basic. It only has a 3-second cooldown, so I highly recommend using it if you need to build adrenaline and if everything else is down. So it's really good. Slaughter. This ability is really good for PvP and PVM bossing. Overpower, good for PvP, not good for PVM. Havoc, good for PVM and PvP, and training too. Slice is good for training too. Backhand is situational. I'll go over that when I go over kick, because you guys should be using them depending on the situation. Smash, good for PvP, bad for PVM, decent for training. Barge, it's really good for PvP, not good for anything else. Flurry. So before I go any further, I'm going to be going over explaining combo abilities. Combo abilities are good for PVM, but they're bad for PvP. So in general, like Flurry, I would not use this in PvP because it gets countered so easily, and I'll be going over that in another video. But just take my word on it. Try to avoid using combo abilities unless it's the ones they say. But yeah, like things like Flurry and Fury are pretty bad for PvP in general. For PVM, they are good, I think, but I haven't tested them. But don't use them for PvP. So this one, bad for PvP. Sever, it's good for everything. Really good ability, solid. Hurricane, good for training. Not so good for PvP and PVM. Massacre, definitely very good for PvP. It can be good for PVM, but it's better for PvP. Meteor Strike, good for everything. If you use it right, it's for PvP, but don't just randomly spam it. It's like when you have an ultimate, you don't want to just use it when it's up. It's like a spec. You don't spec someone at full health. You have to time it correctly and know when to use it. If you don't want to use your ultimate, use thresholds instead to lower your bar, and just keep it going back and forth instead of just completely draining your bar and using your ultimate and wasting all your adrenaline. Kick. This ability is really good for just about everything, except it's horrible when you're bound. So let's say a ranger casts biting shot on you and it lands, and you use a kick on him and he's in front of you. You're basically pushing him away from you when you're bound to the ground. So that's gonna get you like you're actually helping him if you use kick on him. So only use it when you're not bound. If you are bound, use backhand. Punish is a weaker version of Slice, pretty much. pretty much only use this if everything else is down, including Slice. Dismember, it's a pretty good ability for just about everything except training. If you're training, don't use bleeds on anything. Fury, it's good for bossing, I think. I haven't tested it, but I don't know if I would use it, because what happens is if you're using a combo ability, it takes 6 seconds and it only counts as one ability. So it's like you're casting one ability in 6 seconds, and you're only gonna get a little bit of adrenaline for it, and it's not worth it. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better to use instant abilities. In 6 seconds, you could cast 3 basic abilities instead of this one. Is it worth it? Three basics of adrenaline versus one. Is the damage worth it? Like you have to test it a little more, because I haven't tested it in PVM, but I can tell you for sure it's horrible for PvP. Destroy, very good for PvP. I haven't tested it in PVM, but I'm pretty sure it is good in PVM as well. I wouldn't use it for training. Try to avoid any damage, any bleeds or channeled abilities when you're training. Try and stick with instants. Quake, good for training, bad for PvP, bad for PVM. Berserk, good for PVM, very good, and it can be good for PvP if you use it correctly, because you also take 100% extra damage, so only use it if you're confident in defeating your opponents. Cleave, good for training, bad for everything else. Assault, very good for everything. You could use it for training if you use it right, but it's very good. So this is a very good ability for two-handeds. I don't know how good it is for one-handeds or dual wielding, but I know for two-handed it's very good. Smite, excellent ability. This is if you know you're gonna fight someone with a shield and you're dual wielding, use this ability against them, because this does so much damage to shields. So dual wielding pretty much counters shields. So use this ability on shields mostly, but even then it's a really good ability in PvP. In PVM I'm not sure how good it is, and I'm pretty sure for training it's good. Pulverize, this is the PVM ability. I'll probably go over it some other time explaining how to use it, but this is the PVM ability, don't use it for PvP. Frenzy, PVM, don't use it for PvP, it's very bad. Alright, this ability, I see a lot of people using it. It's good against noobs. That's all I'm gonna say. If you fight someone and they know what they're doing, it's gonna be a waste of an ultimate. The range abilities, piercing shot, same as slice. It's a really good ability. It has a 3-second cooldown. It's actually like a better version of slice because it does extra damage when they're stunned, so it's pretty good. Snapshot, good for PvP, good for everything. Deadshot, good for PvP. This is the best PvP ability for range. Snipe, it's very situational. It's only good if you use it right. So I don't know, it's just you have to have experience to use it correctly for PvP and PVM. Try to avoid using this if you don't know how to use it. Binding shot, very good for anything. Fragmentation shot, good for PVM and PvP, very good for PvP. And I wouldn't use it for training. Escape, this ability sucks, don't use it at all. Trust me. Rapid fire, this ability is good for everything. Ricochet, this ability is what you use when piercing shot is down. For PvP, it's just an adrenaline builder. It's not that good. It just does 100% weapon damage, so it's equivalent to an auto attack. Bombardment, good for everything. Training, PvP, and PVM. Incendiary shot, good for PVM, not so good for PvP. Unload, PVM, not PvP, same thing as Frenzy. Torture, I mean these are the magic abilities now. So Torture, same thing as Slice and Piercing Shot. Asphyxiate, very good for everything, except I don't know how good it would be for training, but I'm pretty sure for it's the best for everything else. Omnipower, this ability just got changed and it's actually pretty decent for PvP now. So I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure it is decent now. Dragon Breath, this ability is good for PVM and PvP. So even though this you can only use this when you're in melee range, it doesn't matter because Mage counters melee, so it's made to be used against people that are meleeing on you. So this is a direct counter to people that are using melee. Impact, so this is a really good ability. Combust, This is a really good ability, good for just about everything except training. Surge, this is a good ability. So instead of using escape, you should use surge for everything else, because escape just takes you back, but with surge you can literally just do a 180 and do the same thing, and it'll take you farther. And you can use it for anything, running away, chasing, whatever. Pretty good ability overall. Detonate, good for training, bad for everything else pretty much. Chain, this is the same thing as Ricochet. It's a good adrenaline builder, not really so much for damage. Wild Magic, very good ability for PvP, at PVM, and anything. Metamorphosis, very good ability for everything. I would use this over Omnipower, because it just does more damage over time than Omnipower. Tsunami, it's good for training, horrible for everything else. Defense abilities, so Anticipation is very good. Use this whenever it is up, always, any time for PVM, PvP. I don't know how useful it would be for training. Bash, not that good. I don't know if I would use it. I haven't really used it that much. Revenge, very good for anything. Training, not so much. I don't know, it just depends. Provoke, PVM, Immortality, situational. This could be good for staking, dueling, even though right now it's glitched. Freedom, this is probably one of the most important abilities, and I'll make a separate video going over freedom and how to use it correctly. Reflect, good, very good ability. Resonance, excellent ability if you can use it whenever you need to. Rejuvenate, this is a good ability for training, for PvP. I don't know if I would use it, but for PVM definitely when you're bossing. Debilitate, good for bossing, not so good for PvP. It can be if you're if you're doing a DM or something. Preparation, this goes with resonance, so use it. They synchronize with each other, so yeah, use it right after resonance, and it's good. Barricade, I don't know. This could be good for PVM, but I don't know how to use this one yet, because I haven't yet tested it, because it's a really high defense ability. But yeah, I can't really comment that much on Barricade. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, just take all this. Take all this I'm saying with a grain. It's not set in stone. So use these abilities however you want. Like everything I told you in this video, use it to build your own bar. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. Other than that, have a nice day.